All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our FemCity panel discussion today. My name is Lynn Pelzer. I'm the FemCity COO, and I am here with two amazing women. I'm going to give you a little introduction, and our topic today is how to forgive yourself. Oh my gosh, why does my heart just feel like, as soon as I say that, it's such a beautiful thing. So let me give a little introduction here, and then I'm going to turn it over to Claire and Andrea. So Claire Stadhouder, did I say your name right, Claire?
Perfect.
Stadhouder. Okay, thank you. Claire is a licensed mindset coach, and she's the founder of Bright House Coaching. So I love that. This is the perfect thing for you, Claire. And Andrea Trank is certified heart math trainer and coach, certified yoga teacher, and a certified health coach. So Andrea, I know you have something special for us today too. So this is gonna be good. Let's get into it. Mm-hmm. We'll start with you, Claire. What is your best tip for forgiving ourselves?
Oh, gee, yeah. I mean, I think that to start off with is give yourself grace, right? I think we're often really tough on ourselves, and we forget to treat ourselves like we would our best friend, for instance, right? So I think that's the first thing. When you approach it, try to switch on the negative self-talk and just be open with yourself as if you're, your best friend, for instance. So give yourself patience and time. Forgiving takes time, right? It's not like a, quick fix. The other thing I would say with forgiving is it's really important to really try and work out what you were trying to achieve, right? So whatever you did or said that impacted somebody else negatively, try and go back and really try and dig, is because what were you trying to do really? And it may seem really hard at first to go like, well, no, I was just being mean. There was really nothing that I was trying to achieve. But you'll find that if you dig a little bit deeper and journal on it and give it more time and space, something will come up. You were trying to achieve ultimately something positive, but it just came out in a negative way, right? The other thing I would say is often we feel so, let's say, disappointed, to put it, let's say, nicely, with ourselves, is probably because whatever we did actually went really against one of our own values. So, for instance, you could be somebody, one of your values is to be really kind to the people around you. And maybe you said something or did something that really hurt someone's feelings, right? That's not kind. So that would make it really hard for you to forgive yourself, because you're actually really bumping up against one of your most important values, right? It could be anything, could be honesty, right? Integrity. And what you did was not really honest, right? And that impacted somebody else negatively. So look at that as well. What is your value? What did you actually, let's say, agreement with yourself did you breach? And once you find that out, then you can also flip it and go, okay, but what was I trying to achieve? And again, giving yourself that grace and that period of time to really weave through that. And also then to look at what could you maybe have done otherwise to get that positive response that you actually really wanted to have. And then that's also a lesson for the next time, right? Because we are human. We will continue to make mistakes or disappoint. And that's fine. Again, give yourself grace and work through it in this way, and you will learn and grow from it as well.
I love that. Thank you for that. You know what? It's funny how often journaling comes up, when you're working through things, and from my own experience, it's like, oh, I didn't think that was going to come up. Right. So it's like working through it and maybe continuing some more when you think it's done, come at it again. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. I used to spend hours, literally, this is before kids, of course, journaling, because it's the analysis indeed. And again, you're giving yourself that time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the best friend comment made me also think sometimes I wonder, like my best friend tells me something that she's disappointed in herself about. It's never as big as
No.
what it seems to her. So when I'm trying to tell her that, I think that she feels like I'm just smoothing it over, like, oh, whatever, I love you. So of course, I'm going to tell you it wasn't that bad.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's also part of that is because of it breached that value, right? And so you might say it's totally fine, but for her, I suppose the disappointment is also that she's like, how could I do that? Because that's actually not who I am, right? That is not how I want to live my life, right? So that might be part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, choices that we make that we're like, that's not really who I am. How did that happen?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think also different times in your life, right? Some things happen. For me, one of the things was happened when I was a child, right? And it was still sort of bugging me. So, whether it's something that was recent or like a long time ago, particularly if it was a longer time ago, it can really still impact you today, right? Because particularly if it was a child, it's nearly as though you would develop your self-image around that event, let's say, and that's not fair either. You can't change the past, but you can obviously change the future, or be different in the future.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that, Claire. Andrea, did you want to add any comment about what Claire was saying before you get into your own piece that you're going to work us through a little exercise?
Well, I work with people on their health because I've had health issues, and forgiveness is a necessary dimension of well-being. And so if you are holding on to either anger or blame about something you did or about something that somebody did to you in the past, then it's going to prevent you from being your healthiest self. So there is a really practical reason for incorporating forgiveness. So that's something I wanted to add on to what Claire said.
I love that. Thank you for that. So, Andrea, you have something to work us through. I'm going to just turn it over to you, and Claire and I will go through it as well, right, Claire?
Well, I'm first and foremost a teacher. That's what I do. I teach. So I teach kids, I teach adults, and I've actually taught this. And it was taught to me by Jack Cornfield and Tara Brock. So I'm always getting trained in these things, and then I share them with classes of kids, classes of young adults, and even adults. And so this is a forgiveness practice, a mindfulness practice on forgiveness that I'd love for you to join in with me. So the first thing to remember when you're doing this is that this is not a one-shot deal. Like Claire pointed out, this is not something you're going to do this and it's all going to resonate with you and you're going to be, oh, I'm over it, right? And that's where the grace comes in, because you might feel like you're faking it, right? It may not seem true, but when you continue to practice these kind of things, they eventually do rewire your brain and rewire your thinking. And so there's a purpose in practicing, even if it doesn't feel super authentic to you right now. So, so get comfortable in your chair, sit around, and just remember that when our hearts are armored and stuck in the past, this is becoming a health challenge for us. I mean, think about it. Think about the armoring you put on your heart when you have something from the past that is staying with you. And that locks us into a cycle of suffering. And really, we don't want to suffer. Nobody wants to suffer. And when you're not forgiving yourself or others, you are staying in that cycle of suffering. Okay, so sit comfortably. And if you feel comfortable to do so, you can allow your eyes to close. You don't have to. Allow your breath to be natural and easy. Let your body and mind relax. breathe gently into the area of your heart. First, allow yourself to feel any barriers that you have created because you're not forgiving yourself, or somebody else is not forgiving you, or maybe you're even not forgiving others. And sense the pain of keeping your heart closed. Now let's set an intention to open our heart anew, to let go, begin to breathe softly, and begin the breathing practice of forgiveness. So bring to mind maybe someone who you might have harmed, knowingly or unknowingly. As you picture and remember them, allow yourself to see and feel any pain you might have caused them. And then maybe even mentally whisper his or her name. We're going to repeat the following words. In the ways that I've hurt or harmed you, out of my pain and fear, out of my anger and hurt and confusion, I ask your forgiveness. Please forgive me. I ask your forgiveness. Please forgive me. I ask your forgiveness. Please forgive me. Stay tender as you witness whatever arises within you. Next, realize how important it is to bring forgiveness to yourself for ways you've harmed others or causing harm to yourself. Take some moments to reflect on ways you may have harmed yourself out of your own pain or fear or hurt, and bring the kindness of a grandmother or a grandfather. If it helps, you can place your hand gently on your heart as you do this. Just as I've caused suffering to others, I've also caused suffering to myself. In the ways that I have caused harm, out of my fear and confusion, out of my anger, pain, or hurt, in this moment, I offer myself forgiveness. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. You could even mentally whisper the words, forgiven, forgiven, and sense that this is possible for you. So it's a very short practice, and it needs to be done a lot in order to really get into all your cells in your heart and really change your brain. But forgiveness can't be forced or artificial. You just continue the practice and let the words and images gradually work their own way. And then maybe just, find a time each day to do a little bit of a forgiveness practice for yourself. So I hope this was helpful.
I love that.
That was
Thank
lovely.
you. How beautiful to have something practical to do. And for both of you, I want to ask you for any final advice or anything else that's coming up. But thank you so much for that, Andrea. I don't know what the saying is around forgiveness, but there's something about, it's like drinking poison, or do you know what that thing is?
Oh, I know the saying.
Oh, yeah.
when somebody hurts you, they put a dagger in your heart. When you continue that hurt by not forgiving either them or yourself, it's like you're putting that dagger again and again and again in your heart. Now, that doesn't mean you're condoning somebody else's action or your past action. It means you're not allowing the suffering to continue.
Right. Right. Exactly. I love particularly in your practice, Andrea, that the repetition was, I felt, very powerful. It's, you know, the asking forgiveness, please forgive me. You know, you say it once, okay, maybe twice, okay. But doing it like 4 or like 6 times, whatever, really felt actually really powerful to do it, you know, to repeat those words. And at the end as well,
a mantra or an affirmation.
Yeah.
I use a lot of mantras and affirmations in my yoga classes and in my coaching with people.
Right. Yeah, it was very powerful. And I like what you're saying, obviously, with the dagger. Indeed, I think forgiving yourself is also about regaining that dignity, right? Having dignity again for yourself. Yeah. And yeah, that was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to comment on, we are all human. You said that, Claire. And no one's getting through this life without disappointing someone else or yourself. And it doesn't mean we're a bad person.
No.
You know, and dragging that around, not forgiving yourself, it affects other people. I've found.
Yes.
You know, yes, it affects who I am and how I show up. When I don't let that go. So I really like that. I may do a bit more of that again later. Andrea, did you have anything extra you wanted to add?
And I just think all of these practices should be practiced during times when things are going well. Don't wait until things get really hard and try to do this, because you won't be able to. You're too overwhelmed. And so practice these things in the calm times of your life so that you have easy access to them when you really need them.
Right.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I love that. So somebody told me once about our mental health is that, you know, we clean our houses, you know, every week you kind of have your checklist of things you do, because if not, what happens? It gets way out of control. There's too much, it's too overwhelming. And it's the same with our physical health and our mental health too. So this is a practice that I think people could be getting into to add into that routine of things that they do for their mental health.
Right. I think also, like you said, Lynn, we're going to make mistakes indeed. And we're going to, you know, it's not like we forgive ourselves and we'll never make a mistake again, right? It's also a growth opportunity, right? It's really a learning process. It's a very tough one. But I think like with what Andrea said and doing this practice regularly, it will become more easy because you'll approach it with a slightly different mindset, right?
And Claire, that's a very important point you made, is really we can reframe everything as learning. And it's when we learn from whatever happens, whether it happened to us or we have made it happen, then it's a divine redirection. It's as long as we take advantage of what we have learned from it. And that processing, like you both pointed out, the journaling and all that is a great way to make sure that you are learning from the mistakes you've made.
Exactly. It's the only way, right? Yeah.
I love it. Thank you both for giving so much value today to our femmes, and to, this is going to be public on the FemCity page as well. So others will be able to find you. If someone's looking to connect with you, how can they connect with you? Claire, how can we find you?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook page, Bright House Coaching. You can also go to my website, Bright House Coaching. Facebook is Claire Stadhouder, Bright House Coaching. Yeah, and otherwise, reach out to me. I'd love to have a coffee chat if you'd like to learn a little bit more. I'd love to connect.
Awesome.
And thank you for having us, Lynn, and also thank you for, bringing up this really, really important topic. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for saying that. Andrea, where can we find you?
Well, everything in my name is Heaven Lane. So I have a very active YouTube channel. I have over 1,400 subscribers, and I put lots of free videos, whether the very short practices. In fact, my forgiveness practice is on my YouTube channel. Find my name. Actually, that's just under Andrea Trank. But my website is Heaven Lane Creations. My Facebook page is Heaven Lane Creations. My Instagram is Heaven Lane Creations. And there's a story behind that, but we don't have time.
Ooh.
I
And
actually
podcast.
I live on Heaven Lane, but I'm moving off of Heaven Lane.
Oh, very
I'm not
interesting.
changing the name of my business.
Oh.
I love it. Well, thank you both. And for everyone listening, you can forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you,
And I like to send heart to people.
yes,
Yeah, you're worth it.
you're absolutely worth it. And we love you. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.